Hi students, welcome to the mini e-lecture on variable weather and changing climate, a continuing challenge. Key question 2. What is happening to our Earth's climate? Now we've already done a month of weather and climate learning, so let's just see if we know how to observe what is happening in this scene. Now take a look at this and describe for me what is happening to this certain ice shelf. Now remember, when you want to describe, you have to list down the changes that you see and the evidence that you have found. So I want you to take some time, pause it at the picture, and just write down in your notebook the changes that you see and the evidence you have found. Very important for describing. Just pause now and do a quick note taking. Okay, you should be done with that. So I hope you have paused and you have written something down. Okay, now if you have done your checking, you will realize that there are certain changes that have happened to this certain ice shelf. Now, in the first and the second picture, the change is not so obvious, but when you go to the third picture, it becomes very obvious that pieces of sea ice are fracturing and breaking from the land. What do you think caused this? Okay, now if you listed it down, you would write down that the ice shelf has obviously fragmented and they are breaking away of sea ice to form icebergs, and these are floating away onto the blue ocean. Now in this chapter we will be thinking about why this has happened. You have already answered the key question, why do different places experience different weather and climate? And if you still don't know how to answer that, please do your revision. And we're going to move on to the second key question, what is happening to the Earth's climate? Now, as much as the climate is something that is existing, things are also changing to it. And that is a continuing challenge. So to understand more about it, we're going to look at it from 6 different aspects. How has global climate changed? What are some natural causes? What is the greenhouse effect? How do human activities cause enhanced greenhouse effects? How does climate change affect people? And what are the responses to climate change? So we'll begin first with how has global climate changed? Now, if you remember from our lessons on temperature, what would you say has changed about global climate? Looking at this table. You also have been given a worksheet with a more detailed table. How do you think temperatures have changed? Now, if you have paid attention to it, you will realize that our Earth has warmed up a lot since 1881. The Earth has warmed up by 0.74 degrees Celsius in 100 years, and this is the greatest increase after the 1980s. Then some places have actually recorded much higher temperature increases. For example, at the Arctic, Asia, and Africa, the changes are up to 1.2 degrees Celsius to 1.4 degrees Celsius. Now, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you remember our learnings on temperature changes, we average this out. And if in general your average temperature for the year in a country increases by 0.74% degrees Celsius, how much hotter do you think it will feel on a daily basis? And humans are affected by temperature, but what else is affected by temperature? Why do you think it's so important that we know that there is significant change in Arctic, Asia, and Africa? Keep these questions in the back of your mind as we move on. Now, the second part of this mini lecture will be on the natural causes of climate change. After this, we're going to break off into other mini lectures. Okay? So, the natural causes of climate change, there are 2 of them, variations in solar outputs and volcanic eruptions. First of all, variations in solar output. Now, as we would all know by now, the warmth on Earth is caused by radiation from the sun. And this is called what wave radiation again? If you said short wave, very good. Short wave radiation comes from the sun. And what happens is that any increase in solar radiation can cause greater temperatures. And solar radiation is indeed increasing because of increased sunspots. Now, if you're into astronomy, you can go and find out more about our sun. But in essence, what I'm going to tell you is that our sun has this thing called sunspots. Okay? Essentially, what you see in the picture, the dark spots represent sunspots. And sunspots are places on the sun's surface where it is cooler than the rest of the surface. So if it's black, it's cooler than the rest. And what happens is that when it is cooler than the rest of the sun will realize that something is wrong and it will try to reach equilibrium and it will get hotter to make up for the cooler areas. This in general causes this thing called solar flares, which gives you beautiful northern lights by the way, but it also causes an increase in solar radiation. So every 11 years what you will note is the increase in solar radiations, these flares that happen, and these in general will cause our temperatures to increase. And you know, with more shortwave radiation, more longwave radiation happens, the heat cannot escape. And what happens? The whole Earth will warm up a bit. Now, the other natural factor, volcanic eruptions, actually causes the opposite. It causes this phenomenon called global dimming, which is a gradual reduction in the amount of sunlight that causes the Earth to cool. And this cooling can happen for months or for years. Now, this happens when the volcanoes erupt because volcanoes spits out ash and dust and lava and many things that you will learn when you move on to tectonics. But the more important thing when it comes to weather is the dust. And this dust causes condensation nuclei. Now, remember, what does condensation nuclei help with? It helps with the formation of clouds, of rain clouds, of water vapor droplets that eventually become rain clouds. And this causes more cloud cover. Cloud cover does what? It reflects shortwave radiation, and the dust and ash also reflects solar radiation. And this reflection of solar radiation causes less shortwave radiation to enter our Earth. So this is quite different from the earlier factor, okay? The other factor causes more shortwave radiation, this causes less shortwave radiation. So when this happens, it actually lowers temperatures. So when Mount Pinatubo erupted, I think that's in Philippines, it caused temperatures to drop by 0.6 degrees Celsius for as long as 2 years. Now if you want to read more about how volcanoes cause our Earth's temperatures to lower, you can go to this link here at USGS and read more. But if you look at this table, you can see that Pinatubo actually caused a significant decrease in temperatures. Okay, now this marks the end of our mini e-lecture. We'll go on to what is the greenhouse effect in the next mini e-lecture, so do look out for that. I hope you do a revision, read up on your textbook, and we will be good. I'll see you again soon. Bye!